everyone, welcome back to the kitchen, and today we're going to remake an old favorite. We're going to revisit Tuna Noodle Casserole. This is our third go around with this recipe because I have literally made it, I think, 4 times on this channel, and it has just stood the test of time. But the last incarnation was not great quality, not great sound quality, and I was a little bit in need of an attitude adjustment. So we're going to go ahead and remake this today, and I cannot wait to share how this all comes together. We're going to remake the tuna casserole video today, and that is because the last video that was posted of tuna casserole was made in 2012, I think. And it's old and the quality isn't that great. The sound is definitely lacking, and I was kind of a little ugly in that video, so I'm going to remake it because we don't need to put that negative attitude out there. So we're going to go ahead and redo it today, and I hope that you'll enjoy. So this is my classic tuna noodle casserole. It is a very huge throwback. This is definitely a retro recipe if there ever was one. Tuna casserole is something we always had growing up, but my mom's version is very different from this one, and this one is actually from my ex-husband's mother, and it is superior to my own mother's tuna casserole by a long shot. So what you're going to start with is 1 regular size bag of extra wide egg noodles. I have already boiled them and they're ready to go. We're going to do an 8-ounce can of sliced mushrooms, 4 5-ounce cans of albacore tuna that you leave the juice in. You're going to use everything. Don't drain it. I have 1 regular sized can of cream of celery soup, 1 regular sized can of cream of mushroom soup, and about a cup of chopped black olives. Now, you're going to look at that and go, those olives don't look black. They kind of look brown, and that would be correct. These are the kind of olives that I have really been enjoying lately, and that is because they don't use chemicals to make them black. They don't use artificial anything. These are ripened on the vine or on the tree. They're hand picked and then they're processed and brined, and they're delicious. And you can find these in the aisle where they sell the pickles at your grocery store. That's all that's in this casserole, and it's super delicious. So really, we're just gonna get started by mixing everything up. I like to use the pot I boil the noodles in because that saves an extra dirty bowl. Just go ahead and put your cream of soup in the pot. Now, look, you guys know that you are not going to see me use cream of soups very often that are right out of a can. This is one of the exceptions. There are a couple. I just don't like them. I don't use them very often. There is another recipe I use a can of cream soup in that we like a lot as a family, and I'll have to share that with you one of these days. I think you'll enjoy it. It's just like an herbed chicken, and you make it on the top of the stove in a skillet. So we're gonna go ahead and pop in all of this stuff. I like to mix up the sauce first, and then we'll add the noodles. Awesome. Mix this up. And you don't have to flake the tuna a whole lot, just break it up a little. Sometimes those nice big chunks are a wonderful bite when you bake up the casserole. Now, I have my oven preheating at 350. This is just gonna stay in there for about a half an hour until it's nice and bubbly. This is super simple. This is like basic home ec food. This is what you're gonna learn how to make in home economics class. And I have 4 cups of cheddar cheese here, and we're going to use half of it in the sauce.
You never put peas in yours, do you?
I do not put peas in mine because there ain't no peas going in my tuna casserole.
Okay, can if you want.
You absolutely can if you want. That's up to you. My mom never put peas in hers, and David's mom never put peas in hers either. So, all right. So now, as you can imagine, the next step is to put this the noodles in here and give everything a good toss. Now, here is where you may or may not wish to add some milk, and I think I'm gonna do that. Give this a good toss. And I'm gonna add that milk. I have poured myself about a cup of milk. If you like your tuna casserole a little saucier than I have made mine today, feel free to add an extra can of cream of soup, either the mushroom or the celery, or both if you like. It's up to you. This is how we like it. I don't like it to be like runny when we spoon into it. But if you like yours that way, you should totally make yours the way you love it. All right, I'm going to tip this into our casserole dish. Often I will use a foil pan to do this just because it's easy. And this is a really great casserole to take to a potluck. It's a great casserole to share with a family in need. And they're quick to put together. And you can make this in advance and freeze it. If you want to do that, what you're going to do now is just top this with cheese, and then you're going to wrap it and put it in the freezer. If you're going to do that, I would recommend putting this in a foil pan because it just makes everything so much easier. Then just take the rest of your cheese and sprinkle it over the top. I like to make sure the cheese is as even as possible. It's going to melt, so it's not like imperative that it completely cover the entirety of the casserole, so don't worry about that too much. Just make sure it's as even as possible. We're going to pop this in a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes or until it's bubbly and you might see a little brownness on the top. The cheese is all melty and beautiful, and then we're going to take it out of the oven and let it rest for 10 minutes, at which time we will return and I will fix you a plate of this delicious throwback retro classic tuna noodle casserole. There you have it. Classic retro tuna noodle casserole. This will take you right back to your kitchen table a la 1975. This is, to me, one of the best tuna noodle casseroles I have come across. And as a side note, like I said, this is my ex-mother-in-law's recipe, and it is just that good. My mom used to make tuna casserole a very different way. She would use a box of macaroni and cheese. She would cook it up and make it according to the box, add a can of tuna, some black olives, and some mushrooms, put it in a casserole dish with crushed potato chips on top, and you could do that here too, and it would be amazing. But it wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst, and we all liked it because that's all we knew. When I married my ex-husband, and he said that's not tuna casserole when I made it for him the first time, he told me how his mom made it. And that is how I've made it ever since. Do you want to taste it, even though you know how good it is already?
Paired with tomatoes and green beans.
We always eat this with stewed tomatoes and green beans. And this is like the most ultimate pantry meal you could ever come up with. Because literally everything comes out of your pantry except for a little bit of milk. A bag of noodles, 2 cans of soup, a can of mushrooms, a can of black olives. Well, there's some cheese and some milk in here, but that's all good. And even the side dish is a can of green beans. This is the only time I use canned green beans, and a can of stewed tomatoes. And this is just our favorite way to enjoy tuna casserole. The tomatoes and the green beans really add a lovely acidic note to this meal. Here you go, babe.
Yep, like I remember.
We only have this a couple times a year, but this will last us for 2 dinners. So if you're a smaller family or maybe a couple, you might want to put this in 2 containers. I often will, put this in 2 separate containers, freeze one, cook one, and then have it ready. Because it's always better fresh, but it's not bad left over. So keep that in mind. I hope you enjoyed today's revisit of this retro classic tuna noodle casserole, and I hope that you will give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my kitchen, welcome. It's always a pleasure to invite new friends in. And please be sure and hit the subscribe button. If you are a tried and true member of the Noreen's Kitchen family, always be sure and go down and hit that bell notification button. Sometimes you gotta hit it twice from what I understand. And set your YouTube homepage to your subscription feed so you don't miss out on all the real food for real people, real easy recipes that we present all the time right here on our YouTube channel and straight from our kitchen. I hope you give this retro classic tuna noodle casserole a try sometime soon, and I hope you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya. And until next time, I'll see ya.